Welcome everyone. We're here for another episode of the We Are Usher podcast, and really excited today to be sitting down with Karleigh from Lucky Boy Agency. So welcome, Karleigh.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Really looking forward to diving into it today. And I know we've got a lot of ground to cover.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
You have obviously a lot of different divisions within the business that you are, as Chief of Sales and Marketing Officer, responsible for essentially looking after the sales and the marketing.
Yes.
What are all the different divisions?
So there's 5 core business units, and some of the services actually are a little bit overlapping, but the reason for the different business units is because of the different environments that we operate in. So we've got our tier 1 commercial business, which is our commercial coatings business. And in that, there's a bunch of different services, but mainly commercial painting, rendering, wallpaper application, all those sort of services that intertwine. And then we have the same services, but we operate out of the tier 1 environment as well for tier 2, tier 3 builders. So it's just a different structure, right? And at the end of the day, it's still the same trade and the same service, but it's operating for a different size builder, different model, different management, oversight, safety requirements. So it's about trying to find the right balance to fit for those. And it's really cool because a lot of our competitors can't do that, right? We've got the ability to be able to operate in both environments, and then even all the way down through into repaint, which is an existing building or maintenance of an existing building. So yeah, we've got tier 1, tier 2 and 3, repaint maintenance. And then the other services that are actually very different is the signage business. So right the way from design to fabrication, install of major signs, like really cool ones that stand out from the crowd, being able to do that. And then access is the other business, which it's amazing how they all come together.
Yeah.
They work independently as their own business units, and they service their own clients, but when they come together is when the real magic happens. So there's quite a number of projects where we'll have our own access guys that have built the scaffolding. Then we've got our painters working off it. Then I've got our signage guys that come through and install building signage as well. And it's amazing to be able to capture so many different trades on one particular project. It's great for us, but it's also really good for our customers, because you think about the amount of complexity they've got on projects, and if a single construction manager might be managing 20 different trades on a project or more, and if we can take care of 3 or 4 of them, that's just like, it's solving a massive problem. So many less people that they have to chase around, hold accountable, trying to handle from a quality point of view, timing. So we take care of ourselves and we take care of our customers. So
you are so passionate about your work. It's so nice to be around. And that was my first impression of you. And that was my first impression of everyone from your team.
Yep.
And that's why one of the reasons why I love working with you guys is because everyone in your team loves the business. And when everyone in the team loves the business, it breeds such good culture, but it's just so great to be around.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I love that you picked up on that vibe. And I think that's what we try and carry out. And I think as soon as we see someone in the business not enjoying themselves, it's like a red flag for us to go, what's wrong? It's not that you try and get rid of someone straight away, but it's just going, okay, why aren't you enjoying what you're doing? What are we missing? Are you a great person for the business, but maybe we need to repurpose you into a different role because you've gone stagnant where you are, you're not a good fit. But I'm certainly passionate about it. And not from a construction or trade point of view. Like, I don't have a construction or trade background, which is quite bizarre, I guess, that I've been able to work my way, credit to the business of that mentality of organic growth for people that are hungry. But to be in my role, to not have construction background is quite rare. But it's not about painting. I'm not passionate about painting or signage or any of those things that we do. I'm passionate about solving problems for people and working with a really cool team. Like, we just have such an awesome business that, aside from all the things that we do day to day, like we've got all the different things up in the office here. We've got, from a cultural point of view, we've got our own sauna that's here. We've got an ice bath. We do yoga each week.
For the right person, it's the dream job.
It is,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I never saw myself being in the construction industry, but it's just a funny way of circumstances and meeting people. And I think once I really dove in head first, I've just never looked back. It's been 8 solid years now, and just love everything about the people within the business and what we do, and the impact that we have on the community as well. So I think that's something that's pretty special about the group. Is
absolutely,
yeah, it's not just about what we can do and deliver for our customers, but how we can give back to the community and how we can stay engaged, because we have grown into a large business. We're doing work all around the country, but we haven't forgotten about where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Gold Coast obviously is where the business started, and now it's a national business. But, things like the Usher Cup that we do is directly for the surfing community on the Gold Coast. And now it's an international event. So we got board rider clubs from all around the world flying in to compete at a surfing event that's held by a construction or a trade company, which is, it's so bizarre, but it's just a credit to how cool the business is. And obviously Theo is the visionary behind it. He's always 10 steps ahead, and yeah, it's really cool.
I want to ask you about, because I know that you have been with the company for 8 years. And when I sort of asked you, do you want to do a bit of a feature on yourself? And you kind of said that you would rather, I guess, not be put in the spotlight because you kind of like to, that's not your leadership style. I want to ask you, because I really obviously enjoy working with you, and I wanted to ask you, how would you personally describe your own leadership style?
How would I describe it? I think for me, it really comes back to trying to edify and promote the people, because if I'm the man, right, if I've got to be the person to have the answers for everything and pull the trigger on it, for me in a business of this size, it's not sustainable. We've got too many moving parts, too big of a business for me to have the answers for everything. So the best success that I can see is helping our people win. So I want to edify and grow the people within the team so that they're the ones empowered to make decisions, take ownership for their role, building their own relationships with the clients. Like if I have to hold every relationship that this business has with its key customers, it just can't be done.
Yeah, it cannot be done.
We've got thousands of customers, and it's just, the only way you can succeed when you get to this sort of scale is by, I guess, dropping the ego and allowing other people to grow. And for me, my mentality is about succession planning, because I think if I'm going to grow to the next level of wherever I want to get to, the only way I can do that is by having someone grow from under me to take on what I'm currently doing. If there's no one to take over what I'm doing, then I can't grow. I'm stuck where I am. So
wow, that's really interesting. I've never thought of it like that.
Yep. It was something that got drilled into me a long time ago. Actually, one of my previous employers talked about it a lot, as you should always be looking to replace yourself. And it was kind of like, and it's funny because a lot of people in the workplace, they actually hold on to their role and their secrets, and they're like, well, if I have the answers, then no one can fire me or get rid of me. It's like, well, that's actually not good for the business, because if you get sick, if you're away, like if you're the one that's got all the answers in here, it's a detriment to the company. And I think for me, it's like, how do I get everything that I know and pass it on to someone else so that they can take that responsibility? And it allows me to grow and the business to grow. So yeah, it's been good.
So as the Chief of Sales and Marketing Officer,
yes,
what is it that you do?
What is it that I do? And it's funny because that in itself is probably a bit to take on, but there's probably even more to that now. So the way that we've got the business structured is really great now for the company. We're really agile and we can make decisions quickly. So we've got a strong leadership team at a C-suite level, I guess you could say. So there's the CEO, Shane, who's now executive director, and Stuart as the CEO. And then we report to Theo, the owner, as the chairman of the board. So my main responsibilities are for the revenue and sales of the business. That's probably 80% of my focus, is making sure that we've got enough business coming through for all of our departments, equally or whatever they need to be sustainable. And that we've got a good projection in front of us, because we employ so many people. We need to make sure that we've got the right kind of work, not just volume of work, but the right kind of projects to keep everyone busy. So that's probably my largest focus, is making sure that happens. And again, I'm not doing it myself, but I'm working with every department. So each of our departments has a general manager who's tasked with building their own team, their own workforce to be an independently successful business. And then together as a group, we're looking at how they complement each other and where the gaps are. So I'm supporting those general managers and their team to make sure they've got a sustainable business from a sales point of view. So it means working with the estimators day to day, going to customer meetings, helping close out projects, sometimes identifying where we might have one service locked in and we haven't yet opened the door for, so we might already be signed up for the painting package, but now how do we open the door and connect the dots to the signage business, and get that link happening. So it's kind of just being the glue, just making sure that we don't miss things, because I get a really good global view of the whole business.
Right.
I'm not stuck in one department where I miss things because I've got tunnel vision. I can see everything.
So I guess all of the different general managers are responsible for, as you said, making the business in itself viable and successful, but you're in charge of making sure everyone is still part of the group and fits together.
Yep.
So yeah, having that global view is very, very important.
Exactly right. Yep. And then that, I guess, swings over into marketing. So it's more about, okay, well, now we know that we've got a certain amount of business we need to generate and keep working through. So from there is, okay, well, if that's what we want to do, how do we want to market ourselves to be able to make sure that our brand is right, the customers know what we do. And again, that's not something I can do on my own. So straight away, looking for how we do that. And we've, over the years, it's been done differently. We've had in-house marketing teams, we've employed people, we've used third parties. And I guess when I got introduced to yourself and Jake, it was just like, obviously we went on a bit of a journey together, but it felt right from the beginning.
I remember I was originally introduced to you because you were looking for someone to look after your website.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I remember you asked me, because we were talking, I was maybe asked you about your marketing and you said that you'd had someone in-house that had just left. Do I know anyone?
Yeah.
Me. Over here. Yes, I do know someone.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's always so funny how you kind of sometimes you're brought on, or you're maybe talking about doing one thing and then you end up working together on a whole other range of different things.
Yep.
And we never even did website stuff. We just started assisting you with obviously web social media marketing.
Yep.
And then EDMs across a few different. I think we started with the Usher Group and the Usher Cup, and then I went to the Usher Group and Baxter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now it's gone to Paint Projects as well.
Paint Projects.
And Theo's Personal.
Yes. And Washbox as well.
And Washbox as well.
Yeah.
I love
amazing.
And again, that's sort of back to the Usher culture is very much organic growth, is that we try and put people or businesses that are the right fit for a partnership, right? So we identified you guys as such a great fit for a partnership, but we didn't know what that meant yet. And we wanted to make a start. We wanted to test the waters. And initially I was just looking for support because I'd taken on this extra bit of responsibility and didn't have a team there. So I was doing all of it myself, which you can do for a short period of time, but it's not sustainable. And it's also, again, a detriment to the business. If I'm trying to do everything, just going to drop the ball.
Yeah, you're trying to plan social media at the very end of the day when you should be trying to wind down, spending time with your family, because it sometimes can get pushed to the end of the day because you kind of think of it as like a somewhat, it's a bit of a fun task. I'll do it at the end of the day. But it definitely can be hard. And
it can feel like a bit of a luxury too, and compared to like if you've got critical deadlines with certain things, it's like 100%. We love the idea of marketing and it's so important and it's done wonders, and having you guys as a partner has just done incredible things for our brand equity. But it's felt like it is one of those things that if it wasn't done, the business would still be working. It just wouldn't be recognized and understood the way that it is now.
I agree. I think that is why I was talking about this the other day, and I think that sometimes that's why working with a marketing partner works, is because if I was part of your actual team and say, for example, we were so busy, it was the Usher Cup and you needed to pull me into other things because we were so busy, then potentially that would get taken away from me doing the social media or EDMs because it would be more important that I'm used elsewhere. But because...
It's exactly what happened year after year. And so circumstantially, it's just... Other things take priority within the business, and it's that whole whirlwind of what's reactive today. And to be able to have an external party that's got their own boundaries and already a set scope that just you guys know exactly what you're delivering.
Deliverables.
You got the deliverables, exactly right. That's part of the package.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's and essentially I'm project managing the social media part of things, meaning that if I don't have what I need to reach out to you, I need to reach out to Brett or whoever it is. And I need to get it done, and I'm not yet pulled into other things. And I never really thought about it like that until recently. And I thought that's kind of why it works sometimes, is because no matter what, even when you are so busy with other things, we are still looking after your socials. That's always going to be done. And we're always going to get what we need from you to get it done because it's our job.
100%. No, I totally agree with that. And I think that's some of the beauty that I've seen with it as well. And, if I can dive into that social media scheduling as one point for a minute as well, is that it's you're holding us accountable too, because yes, you're responsible for scheduling, editing, making it look cool, getting all the captions, the music, all the things that you guys are so talented with, but you can't do that without the right content. So we've got a responsibility to feed you that content, and you've got a responsibility to chase us up and say, hey, I'm scheduling the next fortnight ahead, and I'm looking for content. We're missing things here, and you can really be driving our team so that we're always populating and I guess searching for good content. Whereas before it was just very reactive because we just had to fill a gap, and it was just chuck whatever in there. And now it's a much more intentional, very strategic, and I love that.
Too.
Yeah,
it's such a partnership. I think for it to work well, both parties need to, especially in the beginning, put in the work, and then you find your flow, and it just works so well.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like you guys really understand our business now, and remember, like you said, it's an investment in the beginning of time, and because you guys are new to the industry and our business too. So bits of content we were feeding you didn't always make sense. It was just like, well, it's foreign to you. It's just like looking at something else. So it's like giving you guidance on what service we're doing, what environment, what we want to talk about, what we want to try to highlight. And now it's like you just get it. Like 100%. It's just now I get the schedule. It's like I don't have to edit anything. Let's go. Green light.
I saw one of the videos was labeled as PAV 2, and I thought, oh well, that's obviously the pavilion in North Kira.
There you go.
That one.
And imagine 12 months ago you would have been like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
Yeah. It just happens over time, and I think that would be for a business like yours. I think that would have been the biggest, I guess, roadblock for you was not understanding how are you as an external party going to be able to get the content and know what you're talking about so that you can create the content for me, because you're not here.
Yep.
But it just kind of, when you find your flow, it just works. And like we use WhatsApp, Google Drive, sometimes Instagram.
Yep.
But it just, when you figure out how the different companies work together, it's just easy, and it just works, and you just get better and better every single month because the content is even more on brand. It's better. It's more, it adheres more to what your audience likes. And we learn so much from every single monthly report, looking at what's done well and what's not done so well. The transition from going into creating so many Instagram reels was so great for our Instagram, but then our LinkedIn didn't like it as much.
That's right, yeah. And LinkedIn is such a strong performer for the business as well. So it's just understanding what each platform needs. And I love that you've gone on that journey with us. And it's like approaching everything with curiosity to go, we're never going to be, again, because we're not reliant on marketing and such. Like we need it, and we love it, and we endorse it, and we're investing in it. But it's not like we're not using it as a tool to grow.
It's not,
we're not trying to generate leads or anything like that. So for us, there's no failed experiment. It's more just, let's just try and share with the world who we are so they better understand us and our customers.
I love that.
And let's just see what's popular. Yeah.
I think it's a really long-term approach.
Yep.
It's not something that you're essentially trying to get leads out of straight away.
Yeah.
But what you are doing by this long approach is building trust with people who are constantly seeing you all the time.
Yes.
Who are in the industry, always seeing your stuff. All of those little micro interactions, they all add up with, being top of mind, but then also, the credibility and the trust.
Yeah.
So it's hard to quantify that, right?
It is, yeah. But it's honestly the amount of times we hear it now, and our customers are seeing and talking about things, and we're just keeping top of mind that we were already involved in these opportunities. Again, we're not generating leads. And something I mentioned to you early days, which I'm so glad you understood, is that we're not trying to use marketing as a tool to create more working opportunities. We actually already get more working opportunities that we can handle. Yep. So as a sales team, we might get through 100 leads or quoting opportunities in a week, and we only choose to quote 40 or 50 of those, like half of them. And it's very selective, and it's about trying to find the right opportunities that are suited for our business, but where we also know we can add value to the customer. Because unless we're adding value to them, we don't see it as, it's not a great use of either of our time to go down that path. So it was more so for the customers that we are choosing to work with. How do we get them to see us in the way that we want them to, like, understand our business and know that we're not just a painting company, or we're not just here to just try and plow through work. Like, we really care about quality. We care about safety. We care about the team culture on site and all the little things that, without saying it, the marketing does that. Like all of our barbecues and cool things we do on site for that. It's like all of a sudden our customers get to see, well, this is what it looks like when you partner with the Usher Group. We are your project partner, and we don't have to go and try and sell that. It's just they get to see it because it's what we're doing. We're just sharing that. So it's really cool.
So many people would not have that same mindset of, if we've already got enough leads that we can handle, why do I need marketing?
Yeah.
so many people have that mindset.
Yep. They just go, I'll just turn the tap off. It's not a need for my business. And and I'm so glad that Theo and the board here at Usher, they still understand and see it because, yes, we are making an investment, but we see it as being incredibly powerful for our brand and for making a stronger impression on our customers and educating our customers on what we do. And I can't tell you the amount of times that through social media and marketing that we do that customers call us and say, hey, I didn't realize that you do scaffolding as well or that you do signage. I just saw this video on there and you guys were installing this really cool sign. Like I thought you were just a painting company.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just amazing the little things that we take for granted. And like you said, if the business mindset was just going, well, we already get enough leads, why bother? You know, why do we need to spend money on something? And it's like, no, we want people to understand us. And I think aside from what it does for our customers, I love what it does for our people too, because when we're sharing, like we're not making up stuff, like all the footage you get is from our sites and the work we're actually doing, and it's sharing what the people are doing. So our team get really proud of it.
Yeah,
and
you have a big team. Sometimes someone from your signage team might be looking at something from the commercial coatings and go, oh.
Had no idea we were doing that. It's education for the team internally, and it makes them really proud of their work because they're sharing it and they're saying like, you know, I feel like it helps raise that standard that we're actually appreciating and recognizing what our team are doing because the amount of work we just would plow through and people would just think that, oh, yeah, we move from one job to the next. And without doing little things like this, it could be easy for staff to feel like they're not recognized or appreciated because we're just a big machine, right? Like we're an intimate business and we try to have that culture, but we at the end of the day, we're employing 300 plus people. We're doing $60 million of turnover a year. There's a lot of work that's happening. And unless we're sharing that through some sort of medium like this, the wheels just keep turning. You know, it's a big company. So it's easy to get lost in it if we don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And another way that we have sort of worked together to keep the entire team informed is with the internal EDMs, which have been really good.
I've loved that.
Yeah.
And that was something that you came to me with proactively. And as soon as you said it, I'm like, light bulb, like this is perfect. You know, again, it's just such a simple thing that we can do to share with the team news, highlights, insights. And again, it's been amazing what you've done with that just to get the right look and feel of our brand and being proactive about using the information you've already got to create this beautiful little newsletter to go out.
You have 300 plus team members that could essentially receive this newsletter. And a lot of the people that I've met from your team are advocates for the Usher Group. They're all buzzing with that information and then they're going to go and tell people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the best form of marketing when it's that word of mouth, real passion, people that are actually excited about what we're doing. And that's what we want. We want our staff to be able to, you know, go home and show their wives or their partners or their parents. And if they're a younger working age and say, look at the newsletter, this is the job that I'm delivering. Like, how cool is that? And, you know, it's nice to be able to give them that recognition and keeping people informed because, again, each of the business units are like our signage business could be any of them. They could be removed from the group and run as an independent business and be extremely successful as just a signage company on its own. And because they're such a successful business, they can miss what's happening in other parts of the company. And I think just a little easy thing like the newsletter just keeps people feeling like they're part of a group rather than feeling isolated in this one little area. Yeah. So, it's great. It's a great tool.
Speaking of there being a lot of different divisions within the group, I think something that we've sort of done with the different division videos with the video production side of things and something that we want to do more of is, and we have been doing through social media recently, is talking more about the general managers for each of the divisions so that people don't think of the Usher Group as Theo and just Theo, but they're more, and instead of just going to him or just going to you, they are going directly to each of the general managers and building more of a profile.
Absolutely.
And I think we did that really well with the We Are Usher micro documentary and also the division videos, and kind of rolling that out with our strategy through the quarterly EDMs, and just reintroducing or even introducing the general managers to people that haven't met them before, and saying this is the expert within the field. They're backed by the group, but this is your expert who runs the division.
That's exactly right. And that circles right back to what we talked about at the start, is that we want that organic growth within the team, and we want the experts to rise up and take ownership of whatever they're responsible for their team, and for them to be recognized for that as well. Because if everything came back to one central point and, Theo was the man or whatever it was, then, it gets diluted. And I think people need to realize that there's not one person trying to run this entire company. We've got an expert that's been positioned as a general manager that has their own team, and they've got the strength of leveraging the entire group's expertise and all the different resources that come with it. But that documentary was just so cool to be able to do that. Again, just made the team feel so appreciated, proud of what they do, and so great for my customers, because prior to that, the best thing they had was a brochure that had our services and that said, we do painting, signage, this and that. And it was just very how would you word that? I guess it's clinical. Clinical is the kind of the word. You look at it and you just go, it's very clinical. That's the Usher Group and there's their services. And it felt very just corporate and dry. And
you explained it to me really well when we kind of first started the partnership about why it's important to showcase the big team, talk about the people that have been there for a very long time, talk about how we have our own finance department and all of these different things, and why that's important specifically in this industry. Really good point. And I'm so glad we've been able to share that with our marketing, and that for the size of the business that we are and the complexity of the trades that we do, and, each business unit on their own is quite a hard trade to manage and do well. But when you've got all of them, all these things going, it was really important for us to have an independent or a dedicated finance team. And it's, again, our customers need to understand that we're not, some small organization that, you've got people trying to do multiple different roles and they're tripping over each other. And we have a dedicated finance team. We've got a dedicated safety team that their sole responsibility is making sure that our workers get home safe every day. And there's so much compliance that comes with that, the quality team. And it's, we've never had a way to be able to communicate that effectively to our customers other than one-to-one conversations. We might be sitting down in a meeting and we're explaining a bit more of the structure of the business. But again, that's not very effective for educating the market, because there's only so many one-to-one conversations you can have when you're dealing with thousands of customers. So, and I think sometimes you assume that people know your business, which is a bad assumption to make. But, we know it. We're working it every day. So we know that we've got this big business and we've got all these different, departments and arms and people that focus on stuff. But the worst mistake you can make, I think, is assuming that your customers understand that, because they don't. They're just looking on the outside in thinking, okay, I'm sending out a quote request to these 3 painting companies and we're one of those 3, but we're not just a painting company. We're not going apples for apples up against someone else. We're this multi-skilled trade-based company that has all these different arms, and we've got the services behind it or the resources to make sure we do that effectively. So you have the perception that we can handle the biggest of the biggest jobs and we're going to execute it so seamlessly.
Yes. Yep.
And that your customer has confidence in that because they can look at your brand and all it would take would be a glimpse or to watch that micro documentary and go, this is a very established company that's not going to roll over in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, with the industry, that's what people are, I guess, scared of, or they want to make sure that whoever they're working with does have, they are quite established.
Yeah. And it's a sad reality of recent times, I guess, probably COVID sort of era through till now, is that there's been a lot of instability in the construction industry and the environment. And it's been really sad to see. We don't ever want to see a competitor or trades that are going under, but it's a sad reality of what's been happening. There's been a lot of businesses that have started projects and not been able to finish them. And we really pride ourselves in making sure that the workload we take on, which is, again, why we're quite selective, is that we've got not only the resources to deliver it, but the right resources. The guys that are skilled in that particular area, they know the right finishes that they're doing on their whatever it may be, like we ensure that whatever jobs we take on, we're going to be able to deliver it from start to finish and hit all the critical deadlines. And it's something we really pride ourselves on. And as a result, like, again, it's not something you ever want to see happen, but we often wind up having to go in and finish jobs for other people because, again, they haven't got quite the structure or stability there. So it's not something we've been able to, like, we're not trying to promote it actively, but when we have marketing done the way that it is now, again, without saying it, indirectly, our customers are seeing that we're so well established. We've been around for 20 plus years. We've got this incredible team. We've got the culture. We've got, there's confidence that I think that comes out of that where our customers, we feel like a safe bet, if that makes sense. Like,
that's so important.
Yeah. And then it becomes less about, I mean, obviously the cost is always one of the most important things when engaging on a job. We still have to try and help meet budgets and work. We've got to be a viable option. We can't price ourselves out of a job. But when it comes to a point where, we're close enough within the mark of where we need to be, I think then you start to weigh up other options like, okay, well, what's the risk of getting this wrong and getting the wrong partner on board? Yes, we might have a cheaper option that's here, but if they fall over halfway through, the cost of finishing that with someone else is greater and the mess and stuff. So let's just get the right partner from the beginning. And that's kind of where we ideally want to position ourselves as going, you can be confident if we've invested our time to tender on your project, we're ready to deliver it for you. And if you choose us, we'll see it right the way through.
It's marketing is just all about perception, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you don't have a problem with leads.
Yep.
But a good marketing strategy will forever assist you with getting more of the right leads and more of the right business so that you're only doing the jobs that make sense, and so that you're never, doing jobs just because you feel like you have to.
Yes, absolutely. And it's something that we've had to just manually filter through a lot in the past. And again, we get through far more leads than we can handle. So we're not trying to generate more, but the marketing for the last 12 months or since you guys have been on board, we've really noticed a change in the type of projects that come through that are more aligned with the work that we want to do. And it means less manual filtering on our end as well. And that we're not spending all this time sifting through and saying, no. I think our customers are seeing now, because our marketing is so strong and our brand is strong.
No one's calling you up to say, can you paint my house?
Correct. Yeah. And we used to get it all the time. We get people, and again, nothing wrong with that. And we really hope they find the right partner for the job. But we are not a viable option to come and paint someone's house. We're here to do commercial, multi-unit residential, like larger scale projects and that. And again, we still do occasionally get people asking us because sadly they're struggling to find someone who can do it. And again, we're in an industry right now where there's a high demand for work, and it's sad when, people in a residential house are struggling to get a good quality trade on board to do a project. But if we start doing that with the infrastructure we've got with our finance team, safety team and stuff, when you start trying to account for those overheads pricing a residential house, it's just not viable. And we just like to be upfront with people and say, look, we're not going to be the right fit for you in this particular environment. And we try and do our best to actually put them in the right direction or connect them with someone as well, because that's something else we want to be known with, is that, we might not be the right partner for the project, but hopefully we connect you with the right person that is. So within the sales team, that's a bit of the mentality that we get on, is that you're never above or too good for someone or something. And it's like, even if it's not the right opportunity, still try and get an outcome that when the customer gets off that phone call or whatever it is, they felt better having had that conversation with you, more educated, more, because you just never know where the connections are.
I so agree. And I think even if from the very beginning I know someone's contacting us and I don't think it's right for me, I always have so much time for that person.
Yep.
If they're telling me about their business idea, I will always have so much time. I'd never turn it down. Number one, because I think that's just the nice human thing to do.
Yes, yeah.
You never know. Maybe that person in 10 years' time is working for a major company and they remember you because you were a kind person. Not that, you're being kind in the hopes of getting something back.
No.
But you just never know. And
leaving a lasting impression.
Yeah, I think I'm very passionate about never burning a bridge.
Yeah.
And if someone comes to you, even if you think that it's not the right person, give them the time of day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've still reached out to your business for a reason.
That's right, yeah. And I think you've got I love that mentality is just being appreciative that someone sought your business out And even if it's not the right fit, you just try and help them out as much as you can, or at least leave a really good impression so that as soon as they get off that phone call or if you get an email back, it's like, wow, they didn't give me my answer, but they were so helpful and professional, and you just never know who's connected to who. And especially, a large portion of our focus for work is Southeast Queensland, and it is such a tight community. And there's, you might be dealing with one individual here, but their brother or sister or whatever is working with another organization, and the amount of working opportunities we've got through indirect leads is phenomenal as well. So,
and just all about relationships.
All about relationships.
Yeah. And even, just going back to social media side of things, is the socials do support those ongoing relationships as well, because the people that you already have connections with, they're seeing your stuff. And especially if they have a connection with that one particular person, like they see Lisa pop up on the socials and they're engaging with it, that is still supporting that and nurturing that relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's so cool to be able to do that without, and again, we always want to have really high amount of touch points in contact with our customers so that we're nurturing them, and not from, again, trying to get anything, but we want to keep relationships alive. Not only talking to our customers when they need us, but also just maintaining relationships. But the social media has been a really cool way to stay connected with our customers without having to physically get on the phone and talk to them. They're seeing things, they themselves are engaging, they're commenting back to us. Like it's almost becomes this like funnel of people noticing what you're up to and being able to interact with you without you having to do anything.
The cool. Usher Group is the best example for marketing that is not just focused on sales. And I think what some brands or companies can fall into the trap of doing is every single post has a call to action. Contact us now for a quote, or learn more, or do this. I think brands should take what you are doing as a great example, that your marketing is doing so many good things for your brand, and you're community building. Yeah. You're not asking people to call or get in touch, because people disconnect. Social media is a community building tool. It's not a sales tool.
Yes.
I mean, it's a very indirect sales tool.
Yeah.
But to be posting on your social media every time saying with a strong call to action, which a lot of people really want. And I'm always saying that's not, maybe every 10th post could have that.
Yeah.
For every single post to try and be selling something, people just are not engaged.
Yeah.
People want to know the stories of the people behind the brand now more than ever.
Yes. Yep.
They don't want to be sold something.
Couldn't agree more with that. And I think, like, even just coming back to a simple way of looking at it, is that we don't want to be transactional via social media. We want to be relational building. We want to be educational. We want to be engaging. And as soon as I feel like that transactional feeling, like I get a bit icky, like I don't want our customers feeling like we're after something for them and that we need their eyeballs to get something out of them. And I think, again, like we've chosen to partner with certain companies and explore certain projects. We just want them to have a better understanding of who we are and why we're the best fit for that. Not necessarily that, hey, we need 10 more leads. And, I'm just
always coming from a place of gratitude. We're so excited to share this with you. Thank you for supporting us.
Yep.
So they're feeling like, oh, that's nice. And let me watch this instead of, it's a sales.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. And then it feeds back, like when you're talking about community too, like that's been the full circle from us, and something that I didn't really think about heading into the partnership, but you've brought it up a number of times, and it has been an indirect result, is that whole attracting employment and retaining and attracting people. I think the retention comes from people feeling appreciated and seen and proud of what they do. So not just going to a job and fulfilling it, they're actually seeing it being shared and posted, and they're feeling like they're proud. So people want to hang around. But then people from the outside looking in that are in the industry, that, considering a career or whatever else, I think when they see an insight into our business and the culture and the vibe of what we do, it's been such an amazing tool for attracting good quality caliber professionals, whether they're trade-based or whether they're even office professional-based. Like, the amount of people we have hired because of the social media presence or the brand equity is phenomenal. And it's made it so easy. Like, we don't have like a recruiting agency for, and so many people in this industry, for them to get trades or professionals on a job, they've got to recruit heavily and they've got to invest in that sort of stuff because they're taking on so many big projects and they need a big workforce. So they've got to get all this, ads up and everything and try and go through this filtering process. Whereas we just, we've already got a bunch of people that are keen to come work for us straight away. Or as soon as we do put up an ad where we're not paying recruiters for, it's just a generic ad. As soon as people follow through to our website and they see the videos or they look at the social media, it's just like this huge attraction tool that now we're employer of choice. Yeah. And now we're just trying to find, all right, who's the right fit or what's the best fit for you within the organization as well. And it's great to be able to have so many different areas in the business that we have employed people and we thought that maybe they're a good fit over here. And in getting to better know them, their personality profile, their strengths and whatever else, we find that they're the right person for the organization and the culture, but they're actually a better fit over in somewhere else in the business. And having that agility as a company to be able to move people around to being the right person, but maybe not the right fit in their role has been really cool too, because we've watched people that have been with the company in one area and they're a great person, but maybe they just weren't thriving what they're doing. And if we were able to repurpose them and get them into somewhere where it's really complementing their strengths, all of a sudden you just see this individual start to grow and glow and having a great time. And I think some of your success stories.
Strengths.
100%. And I think, funnily enough, the marketing helps identify and play a big role in that because it sort of highlights where people shine and where they work well and what they gravitate to. And I think it helps educate our customers, or sorry, not our customers, our staff on what we do, because there's people that if we didn't have that level of internal communication and marketing and awareness, they wouldn't even know what's available within the organization to feel like they could actually pivot and move to something else. They might feel like they're stuck and pigeonholed here, but now because they've seen what's happening over in one of our other departments, or maybe we're hiring over there, it gives them the confidence to be able to maybe vocalize the fact that, hey, what I'm doing here isn't actually very fulfilling for me. I've seen that opportunity over there. I'd actually really love to give that a try. And that doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's really cool. So,
and you have a big milestone this year with team members?
Yes, we do. So, just going back to that retention piece, this year will have 52 staff members that have done 10 years or more with the organisation.
Amazing.
So it's really, really cool. And for
52, imagine 52 people standing in a room. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Well, we're going to have it very soon. So we, again, recognition, we've got a 10-year dinner. So we've now, it's a new thing we've started. I think last year may have been the first year. But anyone who's reached that 10-year milestone, we do an annual dinner every year. And the people that are still standing with us 10 years or more, they still come to that dinner every year. It's not like a one-off, but whoever joins the 10-year club, they get to attend as well. So I think last year there was 38, which was still a big number. But for whatever reason, there was this tick over this year of a lot of people that started at the same time. So we went from 38 to 52.
That's insane.
So we were at the Langham in a couple of weeks' time for a beautiful dinner and a bit of a presentation. And
that's very important that we tell our community about that.
It is, isn't it? Because again, it's building confidence and trust that we're a stable business that obviously gets something right for people to be around that long. So it's probably a safe bet to partner with us on a job if we've got that stability and staffing. And
people want to work with companies that, have a team of people that actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing of when you go and eat at a restaurant and the staff look like they're hating it versus when you see the staff, having fun, dancing around, just enjoying it. That's so much more enjoyable.
100%. And we're very big on that. We've sort of got a bit of a low tolerance for people that don't buy into the culture of Usher and the attitude and whatever else. It's sort of, it's funny because we've got so many people that have lasted 10 years or more, but we've got this bit of a churn rate for people that are like 12 months or under because you learn pretty quickly if you're going to fit into the Usher culture and if you're going to have the work ethic, the attitude, buy into the culture, get amongst it. And I love that because it's sort of like we'll bring people in based on their merit and their experience. But if they don't actually buy into the Usher culture and they don't invest themselves into being the right attitude and behaviors that we've got, they don't last.
Yeah.
And it's really, I love that too, because we're not just harboring people for the sake of it. The ones that aren't the right cultural fit, they just cycle themselves out because they realize that they're not going to operate the way that the rest of the team are. And we're all okay about that.
Yeah. You end up with a group of people that just work so well together.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yep. And we hold each other accountable to that too. So I think because we've got such a strong culture, everyone fights to protect that culture because they know that if you let in a bad egg and it disrupts the culture, it can be really toxic. And, I've worked in plenty of other organizations where the business maybe didn't have the tools or the confidence to be able to get rid of people that were not healthy for the culture. And it's really hard because you get your high performers, and if you're enabling a bad performer or someone who's not good for the culture, the good performers actually sink down to their level or below because they go, well, why do I need to keep performing up here if this person's getting away with it? And so for us, it's like we've got no tolerance for people that aren't operating at that standard. And it keeps the people that do work well feeling recognized and going, well, I'm glad that management are seeing that and they're quick to act about the fact that someone's not a right fit for the business. So
I think culture was once a bit of a buzzword, but now businesses, and the Usher Group's a great example, understand that it actually is the key to success.
Yeah.
To running a successful business is culture.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have absolutely nailed that.
We're not perfect, but we definitely try, and it's at the forefront of the mind, right? So we've actually got a culture committee that I help sort of lead as well, but we've got different individuals within the organization that help contribute to that for different social events and mid-year events, whatever things we do to try and keep the team engaged. And we're always asking ourselves how we can keep our staff engaged and enjoying what they do. And, we definitely don't get it perfect and we don't always hit the mark, but we go through those cycles of maybe overworking staff and it gets to that like high performance environment and you can lead to a bit of burnout for people, or we can get too far on the nurturing side of things and we start to look after staff too much, but the performance starts to drop. And we've been through plenty of cycles, but I think it's because it's at the forefront where we don't stay in a bad spot for too long. And, culture is always evolving. It's like this living organism. So to think that you've got it mastered is probably you're kidding yourself. I think you might have it right for a little bit, but as soon as the environment changes, the workload changes, the pressure, whatever else. Like
even taking into account a cost of living crisis.
Yeah, it affects the staffing, everything massively,
Then you have to be seen to, like for example, you couldn't be seen to be throwing an extravagant event or something like that when there's a cost of living crisis and everyone's saying they're struggling. Like you have to take those things into account.
Oh, it's such a balancing act and we try to always empathize and understand with what's important to our staff. But there's always things we're going to do because we think it's important for the business, but there has been challenging points where you're right, people were more interested in improving their personal position because their finances were struggling as opposed to doing a fluffy work event. They're going, well, why are we doing this big thing where it's going to cost the company this much money to invest? I'd rather that money go towards myself and my staff or whatever else.
Yeah.
And
whereas during other times when everything's kind of free flowing, people might love to be invited to a big seafood buffet or something like that. It's just you kind of always have to be just aware of what's happening.
And asking our staff too. So we're pretty big on doing internal surveys and we get a good quarterly internal survey going out, asking those tough questions and getting that feedback from our staff and taking it seriously too, because, you're always going to get some staff that might go through a phase of being personally disgruntled or something's going on in their life, but you've got to dig a bit deeper to find out, okay, what influence or impact are we having as a company and how can we respond to this in a positive way? Because as soon as someone's suffering themselves, the impact that has on their personal performance, but then the team around them is pretty big. And when it's a good employee, we particularly want to take that time to figure out what's wrong and how we can try and support them through it, because we know that it's maybe not them personally and we're not taking it personally, but there's something wrong and it's affecting them and it's affecting their team. So we need to move pretty quickly to act on that, because you leave it go dormant and you either lose a good person or you lose, the culture within a team too. But
so we're working on that. We Are Usher collage for you.
Yes.
And one of the biggest feelings I have had is obviously you see a number of, you say, oh, we have 300 staff, or at times there's been 500 or even more.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a big number, right? But for me, receiving all of these individual photos of people, they are all, obviously, but to see all of these pictures of these different people who have lives and they're their own people. It's you might see this big number, but there's so many different individual people and personalities that that this is their livelihood.
Yeah, it is. And I think when you see things like that, it does remind you of the importance of having a stable organization that's got, we've got to make sure that we're operating in a way that is sustainable as a company, because these are people's lives, and it affects not just them, but affects their entire network or ecosystem, their families, whatever it may be. So when you start to really have those personal relationships with people, I think that's why we have people that are so passionate about what they do, because they've got really strong relationships with each other and within the team. So they perform at a high level because they know that what they do affects this person and that affects their families and whatever else. So it's so cool when I hear the sales team talking about being concerned about their own personal pipeline of work, because they know then that means that we won't have enough work for a really high-performing team that have worked hard to build a strong, capable workforce. And now that workforce might have to be shrunk down because we don't have enough work for them. And the fact that they're actually thinking about that, I think is really cool, because you could have the attitude of people that just don't care. It's like, well, that's not my department. Like, I don't need to worry about that. I'm looking after this. But because of the culture we have here, people actually think about it, and it drives them to work a bit harder and think about the impact of the next person. So it's really cool.
So what advice would you give someone who was potentially running a successful business in the construction industry, but wanted to improve their marketing? Where should they start?
Well, it was a conversation I had with myself not long ago, because when I took over marketing for Usher, it wasn't that much longer afterwards that we managed to cross paths and I got to engage you guys. I think it probably went 6 to 8 months solo and using in-house. But what I would definitely say is leverage the expertise of someone else who absolutely knows what they're doing in marketing and where they're at. I think if you're starting out in the area, which I was as well, is that don't try to pretend like you know it all and have to have the answers. It's just as powerful to be able to actually just put the ego aside and say, instead of me trying to figure all this out, how about I actually lean in and engage a professional in this space and get their advice and experience. And yes, you still have a lot of input, right? I'm not just going, handball, here you go. Good luck. You guys are off now. You're off the bench. We've been so engaged in every aspect of it, and there's nothing that goes out that doesn't come back through my filter or the team's filter that's here. So we've got a lot of input, but it's being able to actually trust someone who is an expert in what they do, so they can give you advice about, you give me advice about every aspect about, the type of content that's engaging, the kind of, tags that you need to have, the time of day that you need to post, like all these things that I don't know anything about. And really it's not probably a best use of my time to get self-educated. Like I've grown and learned on the journey, but it's better than me trusting and engaging someone who knows what they're doing, and then being able to collaborate with you to go, okay, well, what's the best outcome? And, getting your monthly reports. Like if I was trying to do that all myself, yes, we would be getting marketing out, but there wouldn't be all these comprehensive reports and stats and data and, growth and strategy behind it. Like I just can't see myself of having created the same level of success. And particularly with specialty sort of things like the documentary we did, or the filming, like, yeah, you have to engage a professional. It's probably the best advice I'd give, is just lean in, have conversations with people and find the right fit. So, obviously we didn't just talk to you guys as well. Like it's been an amazing partnership, but pre your engagement, I talked to quite a few different marketing agencies and just tried to get an understanding of, who we were dealing with and what their offerings were and what their proposals were. And when it's all new, I think you've just got to come back to going, these guys are obviously all professionals in their field. So I think that to some degree, they've got the capabilities, each of them, to go and do it. The next question I ask myself is, what's the best fit in terms of, who do I feel like gets the brand the most, gets the vision that I can have a good relationship with? Because if you're going to embark on a journey that requires a lot of communication and collaboration, you've got to really enjoy who you're doing that with.
100%.
So yourself and Jake, I get on like a house on fire. Yeah. I think you guys are brilliant at what you do. I think it's a great setup. And I think I enjoy jumping onto meetings and having conversations with you guys. So I actually look forward to it. Whereas if I engage someone else that, yes, they might be capable, but if I'm going, oh shit, I don't want to jump on a meeting with these guys because, it's not going to last. Yeah. Or you're just going to frustrate yourself in the process. So
or hire people they like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So think about relationships first.
I always try and give that advice to people when they're going into new business meetings. And it's the most, I don't know if I've said this to you, but it's the one bit of advice that has stuck with me. You hear so many things, but when you're doing something that you feel out of your depth, maybe a new business meeting or you're nervous about, just talk like yourself.
Yeah.
Just talk how you would talk.
Love that.
Show your personality.
Yep.
Because if that's the right fit, then that's great. And that person's been able to actually meet the real you and not just feel like, oh, it was just a bit of a, a
show and
exchange or just be yourself. And if it's the right fit, then amazing. And if it's not, then that's okay too.
Yeah,
probably wouldn't have worked out in the end anyway.
It's authenticity.
Yeah. So I always try and I've had a lot of people throughout my career tell me to act a certain way or do certain things just so that you're perceived a certain way. But my advice has always been, and it's it's the number one thing you're told, is literally be yourself.
Be yourself. Yeah.
Even in a business situation, being yourself is the best way I find to connect with the right people.
100%. And I think, and you can find the right fits too. So it doesn't mean that you're going to connect personally with everyone, but the people you do connect with are the right people to connect with. And that's where it makes successful business. And I love that. Being authentic is just a true superpower. And it's something that, a lot of people are comfortable to do because, like you said, the whole mentality and what you're taught is more like around having the right skill set, saying the right thing, following the right script, wherever that might be. And I think that it doesn't hit the core for people, and it's not for longevity. It might work in a short period, but it catches up with people and they start to see that, hey, this is not necessarily the right partnership, or not having the right connection with this person because I don't even know who I'm dealing with. Every time I talk to them, they're a different person. Yeah.
And trying to, I'm a millennial, but I'm 1 year off being a Gen Z. And, I've always, as I was growing up and as a young woman in the PR and marketing industry, kind of been taught to, speak a certain way. But now, just being myself, I kind of more lean into that Gen Z side. And I was thinking that kind of makes me even more uniquely qualified to run people's social media accounts.
Massively.
Because I've grown up with it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's...
Well, that's the way that you've conducted yourself, and that's what I really engage with as well. And same with Jake. You guys were just so real. And then off the back of that, you did the same thing. And obviously that was in consultation with us, but we did the same thing for the Usher Group together, as more like, let's be real about who we are. The content is real content. It's raw. It's fun. Like, you make it look pretty and fun, but it's just showcasing who we are, right? And it's trying to be authentic through our marketing as well to our customers, so that they don't have this corporate image of who we are and then they deal with us and it's something different. It's like, well, we're going to show you now through everything that we're putting out in our media who we are. And if you connect and resonate with that, then maybe you are a good partner for us.
Totally.
And it's not going to be for everyone, but again, it's about partnering not with everyone, but with the right people.
So reaching out and seeking professional support.
Yes.
Being authentic. And I think the last one that we could probably mention is leveraging your team skills and bringing them into the process.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how we didn't talk about that yet, but it's been so cool because a lot of the content that we're feeding to you guys to be able to schedule and make look pretty and edit and everything is coming from the team, and getting them engaged at a base level has been so cool for the team because, again, they're proud of what they do. They're trying to capture some content, or at least they're telling us about when something cool is happening that we can get there for some drone footage or set something up for the day. But
I think that was Theo's biggest challenge, or not challenge, but I remember those initial conversations. He was saying, well, how are you going to get the content? Like, not actually understanding if you're not driving around to the different sites with your iPhone, how are you going to get the content? Because I know that the people on site are not going to give it to you, but we've just found our way and we've leveraged people that are so passionate.
Yep.
And that makes them love working here even more.
Yep.
And then we're getting great stuff. So it's
100%.
Win-win.
Yeah, and you find some people that have some incredible talent within the team, and they might have one particular focus of their role, but you find that they're really passionate about some videography stuff on the side, or just capturing stuff. And again, we're not trying to get them to do anything professional, but they're passionate about what they do. So they're out there capturing some work that they're doing and then feeding it through to you guys. And it's been really cool for the engagement and making the staff feel like they're part of something and giving them an added sense of purpose on top of their standard day job. It's worked really, really well. And I think it was a mental hurdle initially to go. We've engaged.
Hurdle.
Yeah, mental hurdle. So we had this external marketing company that we're engaging and for deliverables that you guys are going to deliver to us. But, you guys are based in Melbourne. We're based on the Gold Coast predominantly. We don't work around Australia, but where's the content coming from?
Yeah.
How are we? Yeah, it's all good to schedule it, but how? So, and I think I loved your confidence from day one. It's like, no, we can do this. I'm happy, and nothing was like too above you either. Like, I can imagine that if I dealt with another company, it would have been like, you only want one point of contact and you want me to do all the running around of work. Whereas you've been able to just go, give me the numbers of the project managers, the foreman, add me to some WhatsApp groups. Like, I'm happy to talk to anyone, anytime. Like, I'll give them advice on how to capture stuff. And you've really taken a lot of the pressure off me, which has been, that's to me is an amazing partnership, is that someone who's actually interested in making, getting the right outcome, but making my life easier as well. And that I don't have as much capacity and time to run around and search for content and hold people accountable or film myself. It's like, it's so nice to have a partner to go, I know what we need. Let me take the leash off and let me run out, go and get people and, communicate with them. So it's been, you've been really great with that, proactive. So I guess that is another great point of advice, is find a way to engage the team and don't feel like you need either yourself or you don't need a third party to do everything. It's more about a healthy collaboration to go using them for their expertise and what they're good at, but the content's still got to come from your people, from what's real and what's happening. You can't.
That's going to perform.
That can perform way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to have everyone much more engaged. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for jumping on. It's great to have you in here.
Compliments for me.
Yeah. That's how it should be. So until next time.
Yes, until next time. Thank you.